Hey everybody, it's me, Miss Miller, here to talk about factoring trinomials when a equals 1 using the x method, using that x game we played from our last video. The first thing I want to define for us is that the idea of a trinomial. Trinomial means 3 terms, like a polynomial, but for 3 because it's the word tri. So our 3 terms are ax squared plus bx plus c. What's important to know here is that both a, b, and c are all real number coefficients. So our c is a constant, b is the number in front of x, and a is the number in front of x squared. So when I ask you what is a, we're asking for the number in front of x squared, not the whole term. I want us to remember how to multiply polynomials because factoring is the undoing of multiplication. So when we multiply, we use the method called FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. What that refers to is if we multiply our first terms, x and x, we'll get x squared. If we multiply our outer term of x times negative 2, we'll get negative 2x. Our inner term, so 5 times x, gives us 5x. And 5 times negative 2 gives us negative 10. Then we write out our description. So we have negative 2x plus 5x minus 10 combined like terms to give us positive 3x. When we go to factoring trinomials, we're undoing that whole process we just showed. So we first want to identify the a, b, and c values in the trinomial. Then we're going to multiply a and c together, and that will become our top number of the x. We'll list all the factor pairs of a and c. Find the factor pair that adds up to b, so the same x game we were playing before, and we'll use those factors to write as binomials. So let's look at our first example, x squared plus 3x minus 18. Since there is no number in front of x squared, we know a to be positive 1. Our b value, the number in front of x, is 3, and our c value will be negative 18. Please make sure to include the sign that's in front. Since 3 is positive, we don't have to put the plus sign, but if there's a minus sign or subtraction, we want to put that right there. Then we're going to multiply a times c. So 1 times negative 18 gives us negative 18. So we're going to put that right at the top of my x, and we put our b value on the bottom. Now we're going to find the factor pair that adds up. So list the factor pairs of negative 18. Negative 18 can be formed by negative 1 times 18, also positive 1 and negative 18. 2 goes into 18 9 times, so we can write negative 2 and 9, or 2 and negative 9. 3 goes into 18 6 times, so I can write that as negative 3 and 6, also 3 and negative 6. Now I want to find the pair that adds up to positive 3. Negative 1 and 18 is positive 17. Negative 1 plus negative 18, positive 1 plus negative 18 is negative 17. Negative 2 plus 9 is going to give us positive 7. 2 plus negative 9 is negative 7. Negative 3 plus 6 is 3. And 3 minus 6 is negative 3. Since we're looking for positive 3, this will become the factor pair that we need to use. So we can write those in the empty spaces. Those are the factors we will use to writing our binomials. So our final answer, what we were looking to find, are 2 binomials, which we'll write as x minus 3 and x plus 6. The reason it's minus 3 is because the factor pair is negative 3 and positive 6. To check, you can say negative 3 times 6 gives us negative 18. Negative 3 plus 6 gives us a positive 3. So this is the factoring of this trinomial. All right, let's go over some more examples. Here's our next example, x squared plus 10x plus 16. Let's first identify the a, b, and c terms. So a is 1, b is 10, and c is positive 16. Since they're all positive, we can just write them as this. You don't have to put the plus sign in front. Now what we will do is multiply A1 times C, 16. 1 times 16 is 16. Then we'll draw our X to keep our work organized, and I'm going to put 16 at the top and put 10, my B term, on the bottom. Think B bottom. Now we're looking for our factor pairs, what goes in these boxes. So we first need to list all the factor pairs of 16, both the positive factors and negative factors. So positive 16 can be formed by positive 1 and positive 16, also negative 1 and negative 16. 2 goes into 16 8 times, so I could write 2 and 8. Also negative 2 times negative 8. 3 goes into 16. Nope. Does 4 go into 16? Yes. 4 times 4 gives us 16. Same with negative 4 and negative 4. Now, if it's easier to organize, we can add these up. So we're looking for it to add up to B. B is 10. So 1 plus 16 is 17. That doesn't work. Negative 1 plus negative 16 is negative 17. 2 and 8 gives me positive 10, which is my B value. You could stop here, but we're going to keep going so that we get practice with adding. Negative 2 and negative 8 is negative 10. 4 and 4 gives us 8. Negative 4 plus negative 4 is negative 8. So the factor pair that works for us is positive 2 and positive 8. It doesn't matter the order in which you organize the factors. If you wanted to write 8 and 2 instead of 2 and 8, that's fine. And we use that to create our answer. Our answer as a factored trinomial would be x plus 2 and x plus 8. Since they are both positive factors, we use the plus sign. The next example will be x squared minus 13x plus 12. First, again, we're going to identify what A, B, and C are. A is 1 since there is no number in front, so we know that to be a 1. B is negative 13 because of this minus sign, and C is positive 12. Then we'll do A times C. So 1 times 12 gives us positive 12. We draw our X to organize our information. I'm going to put 12 at the top of this box, top of the X. I'm going to put negative 13 on the bottom. This helps organize to know I want factors of 12 that add up to negative 13. So let's list all the factor pairs of 12. We have 1 and 12, also negative 1 and negative 12. 2 and 6, negative 2 and negative 6. 3 and 4, also negative 3 and negative 4. The reason I know I'm done is because after 3 comes 4, and that's already listed. As soon as any of the numbers repeat, you're done. Now let's see what these pairs add up to. 1 plus 12 is 13. Keep in mind we actually want negative 13. So negative 1 and negative 12 give us negative 13. I found my pairs. But again, for extra practice, let's continue to add. 2 and 6 give us 8. Negative 2 and negative 6 give us negative 8. 3 and 4 is 7. Negative 3 plus negative 4 is negative 7. So the factor pair that adds up to B is negative 1 and negative 12. The order does not matter where you put, so I will organize by saying negative 1 and negative 12. My final answer is the factors of x minus 1 and x minus 12. That's the final factored answer, not just the pairs, but the final factored answer of x minus 1 times x minus 12. Our final example, if you think you got the hang of it, you want to practice, you're welcome to pause this video or watch our last example where we have x squared plus 8x minus 12. Now here our C value is negative. Notice A is still 1 and B is positive. A is positive 1, B is positive 8, C is negative 20. A times C, 1 times negative 20 will give us negative 20. When I draw my X, I'm going to put negative 20 at the top and positive 8 on the bottom. Now I'm going to start to list all the factors of negative 20. Since it's a negative number, remember we're going to multiply by a negative and a positive. Since 1 goes into 20, I can write negative 1 and 20, also positive 1 and negative 20. 2 goes into 20 10 times, so I can write negative 2 and positive 10 to give us negative 20. Also positive 2 and negative 10. 3 does not go into 20. 4 does 5 times. So I can write negative 4 and 5 or positive 4 and negative 5. Adding these factor pairs up, we're looking for it to add to our b value of 8. Negative 1 and 20 gives me 19. 1 and negative 20 gives me negative 19. Negative 2 and 10 gives me positive 8. That's the answer we were looking for, but let's keep going. 2 and negative 10 give me negative 8. Negative 4 and 5 added together gives me positive 1. 4 and negative 5 give me negative 1. So again, the factor pair that gives us our b value is negative 2 and 10. Again, the order doesn't matter. If you wanted to write 10 and negative 2, that's fine. We can also write negative 2 and 10. So our final answer for this factoring would be x minus 2 and x plus 10. Again, the order doesn't matter as long as the correct sign is with your function. As long as we have x minus 2 times x plus 10, or you could write x plus 10 times x minus 2. I hope you find this video helpful and enjoy doing your practice problems on Delta Math. Have a good day.